All right, good people. How y'all doing? LAR movement still moving. Um, if you can tell by the title, I have the right to be traditional, right? So this is going for a reason. I was having a good conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, and one of the issues was, as a person, I have certain qualities and certain things that are you would consider negative. Like I can be seen as negative, or what do you call that? Pessimistic. And part of this was based around traditionalism, right? So part of the issue was, I blame you, George. What's up, Devin? Edward? It is my fault. So part of the issue was, I was like, well, I'm not a rigid person, but the change in times, what did it do, Epic? The change in times make me, I am a bit rigid, not thinking about it. And I was like, I'm rigid because I have the right to be traditional. I have the right to do things the same way everybody else has a right to do things. What's up, Mr. Ibmore? I have that same right as everybody else. And I started to realize, flushing this through and thinking this out, that the times are changing and it's uncomfortable, right? But for me, being traditional is uncomfortable for me because the people who want to change the tradition and be non-traditional, they don't want to have the responsibility of if they want the accolades of being non-traditional if it's beneficial to them, but the negative aspect of it, that if it doesn't work, then they want to lay back on, well, traditional people could fix it. And it's like, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with changing. You want to change the times for you, but you don't want the fallout for what you're doing when you're changing these times. What up, Keenan? So for me, I'm like, okay, we're having an issue here. And I have, part of, we have clashes because I have an issue with this new age ideology, and there's new ways of moving around. And they have they have a difference of opinion, and they don't like me being traditional. And I started thinking about it in the sense of, well, what does it matter? What's going on, Chaos? What does it matter if I want to do things a traditional way and you want me to accept you doing things a non-traditional way? What's going on, unconventional? You want to accept me doing things a new way? Well, I still have the right to do things that traditional way that I want to. I don't have to. I don't have to actually accept it if I do or do not want to. And I don't have to oppose it either. I can be indifferent, because part of this new age way of approaching life is an experiment. And the funny thing about an experiment is, you normally don't experiment with your own equipment. You experiment with everybody else, with somebody else's. So you're going through the bumps and the bruises with their stuff. And part of me being not liking this new age thinking at times. What up, Mr. E? This new age thinking has me thinking about that. Like, you do, like, and this is one thing my friends like, I always say, you do realize, like, you always trying to tell somebody or teach somebody something. And I'm like, at one point you can be talking down to a person because they think, I'm being pessimistic by saying this is going to happen, by putting this in the air. I said another way, if I'm watching a pattern, that's a pattern. What's going on, Careless? Like, I'm saying, okay, if this is an experiment and this is the pattern of this experiment, because you're new age and you're non-traditional, you're not taking notes about how this pattern keeps ending, because you're like, oh, well, I want it to end a certain way. I'm looking for this ending. I was like, okay, if this is your experiment and you're looking for this certain ending, what's going on, Mahogany? If you're looking for this certain ending, did you take in, when you did this experiment, did you see, okay, this way I did it, that's new, is not it? What's going on, Nicole? Oh man. Thank you. So what winds up happening is, I think people who are non-traditional aren't taking notes. They aren't actually doing what they say they're doing. They're saying, I want to do something a new way, but you're not taking it this way, this was the outcome. You just saying, oh, that's not the outcome I wanted, so I'm trying something else. And I'm like, okay, what's up, honey? So what winds up happening to me in these conversations is, if you're doing something, if you keep not taking notes, and I'm watching what you're doing, and I'm actually taking notes of you being non-traditional, and I'm telling you these are your patterns, because part of being traditional is actually paying attention to the patterns and documenting them and taking inventory. So when I bring up okay, this is how this, when you do it this way, it is this way. When you do it that way, it is that way. And for me, that comes off as being negative. You know, when I deal with people who are non-traditional, it's like, that's negative. You speaking negativity into existence. And for me, I'm like, I thought I was just telling you what the hell was going on. I thought I was telling you, X, X plus Y equals Z. So, you didn't want that. Okay. Yeah, exactly, John. That's what gets me. So with my friend, we started talking about what's going on, AB, Mr. E. What's going on, my friend? We were talking about gender roles at first, and Mr. Muhammad, what's up? We were talking about gender roles, and she says, women don't need men to be what they once were because times have changed. And I was like, I get that times have changed, but just because times have changed, men are not going to stop being men, because women have a new way of approaching being financially stable. And she was like, well, you're socialized a certain way. And I'm like, that's part of the issue, is we are, okay, boys are socialized to be men and girls are socialized to be women. But the thing about it is, we already born different. We're born physiologically different. We're physically different and we're mentally different by birth. So the things that we do are basically fine-tuned things for us. That I'm more proficient in this, so this is how I'm gonna operate. She's more proficient in this, so this is how she's gonna operate. And when I was telling her, we were talking about, the gender roles they don't have to be that way. I'm like, actually, you can't be a man. A woman can't be a man and a man can't be a woman. It's like, for me, that's a exercise in futility, where you're enjoying playing what you feel like the other role is, but you really aren't ever going to be in that role. So, like, when we were talking about it, appreciate it, Art. When we were talking about it, I was like, that's like, I'm black, somebody white is they talking about. So it's like, for a man, that's the same thing with gender roles. When a woman is like, well, I can be masculine, I can be manly, all I gotta do is X, Y, Z. A man's looking at her like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're watching from the outside and trying to explain how it works internally. All you're emulating is part of these actions, but you don't understand the driving forces and factors behind those actions, right? And that's when I started thinking about it, like, yeah, I got the right to be traditional, because I don't. And we was clowning about the gender roles, and she was talking about, alternative. We started talking about alternative lifestyles at a point, and I was like, the funny thing about, as a man looking at alternative lifestyles, is they are emulating traditional relationships, and they're saying there's something new. But I'm like, okay, how come it doesn't matter if it's two men or two women? You're gonna have one trying to take on a man role and one trying to take on a woman's role. So if you're saying you're doing something new or different, you shouldn't even be doing it. You should be doing something new and different. But if you're going to emulate something and you're not getting it right, then what's up, keep it taking? You emulating something and you're not getting it right, then a person who is actually in that space is looking at you like, you messing this up. You are messing this up. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm bringing something new to the conversation. No, you're actually not. You're making a bad remix. You know, and I didn't realize when I was younger, you know, listening to a lot of old school music, when my grandparents would be like, when somebody would remix a song, they'd be like, who is this person that messed up my song? And that's how I feel about being traditional. Like, you want to change being traditional and remix it to something else, but you messing up the song. You didn't actually make the song better. It ain't like when Lauryn Hill made Killing Me Softly and they added the one time. It was a great song that they made, that they kept up. You know what I'm saying? But other people made songs and it's, you know, it's like the 5 Heartbeats when the white guy started singing. It's like that's not a no, that's not the song. That's not the one, B. It's not the one. So, you know, when we were talking about even the gender part, I was thinking like, yo, when you're looking at something from a traditional lens, it's like, why are you messing up what I'm doing and then trying to make your mess up a norm? You know, why? I feel you. I still listen to Lauryn Hill. Matter of fact, where the music at? Y'all, thank you for telling me that. You know, okay, Kev, thank you, fam. You know, this is where part of these things go wrong, because I was thinking about this in a sense of, thank you very much, Uncle Kev. I appreciate you. Harambe, what's popping? I was thinking about this also in the sense of the way we do these things. People don't want to take into consideration that when you do things a new way, you don't let the people who are doing it the old way are not responsible for the fallout. And that's the thing about the gender roles. Like, part of the thing that we were talking about was going on, Careless and Roastmaster. Part of the things that I was talking about is, you know, when women would say we're doing things differently. Thanks, Harambe. When women say we got to do things differently because of whatever. If men are so bad, you shouldn't be emulating us. You get what I'm saying? And just like the thing when I was looking at with D Wade with the son, if it's so good for your son to do that, then why are you pushing it so hard? Because you want people to accept your bad parenting. Because this is not a traditional way of parenting. This is new. And me and her were talking about that because I was laughing. I said, you know, when I first saw the image didn't bother me at first. It wasn't just the boy dressed as a girl and this, that, and the third. What bothered me was they put out, this was the family picture. And I'm like, D Wade got 2 other boys that live in that house. So how are all these family pictures just excluding the other 2 boys? You get what I'm saying? Like, because now we're a traditional family. We want you to accept our traditional ways. So this is the family picture with my son who wants to be a girl, my wife who didn't want to have a baby, so we had a surrogate, and this baby that is now her daughter. But where my other 2 boys at? This ain't even the whole family. So it's like the family is already divided in the presentation. So, like, this is the problem with, you know, just new age traditional things. What's up, Perception? What's happening, man? And that was the thing. Like, exactly. The family is the foundation of civilization. And the other thing I thought about with this was I have a right to be traditional because the third thing is the social contract. See, traditionalism has a social contract that we all know of. You know, the men are responsible for this, the women are responsible for that. The society, certain, you know, the judicial system is responsible for this, the financial system is responsible for that. And the production side and the industrial side and the military side, these are all things that have a traditional basis. And there's nothing wrong with that. What's going on, Mauricia? I'm glad you're here. the thing about it though, when you want to be non-traditional, you're still piggybacking off of the traditional social contract. So you want to change the social contract, but you want all the benefits of the social contract, and you want the exit strategy to be, well, I'm non-traditional, so I don't really have to adhere to these rules, but I'm going to play this game like I'm adhering to these rules to get the benefits of your traditional stuff, but I'm doing something non-traditional. And it's like, well, okay, so when you get enough resources for being non-traditional, then you're going to expand your non-traditional empire, right? And the answer is no. Because all the time when I see people who are non-traditional, I hate to say this, but they're rebels. In my opinion, they come across as rebels to the social contract. I don't want to be boxed in. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And it's nothing wrong if you're a rebel and you accept the good and the bad of being a rebel. But it's like this age of people who are non-traditional, you know, can't accept the good and the bad of being non-traditional. You know, if hold up, everyone got rights, but man, with black, exactly. That's part of the issue too, Mike. You know, when you want to exercise, if I'm traditional, I want to exercise my rights. Now my traditional rights are infringing upon your non-traditional rights. But you need me to accept you accept your non-traditional rights. But there's no benefits from being non-traditional right now. Like that's part of the issue. What are the benefits when you want to break the social contract? How does it benefit the society? And people are saying that's the problem. Like part of America being a free-for-all in the business is part of this place's inception is about breaking a human social contract. There's certain things you're not supposed to do for money. So this is a land where you could do everything good and bad for money. So if you sign up to break the social contract, you can't. This is why people look at America to a degree as hypocritical. You can't build a country on crime and then want to police people from not doing it again. While you still living off the benefits of creating a society built on crime. It don't make no sense. Okay, no problem. Traditional is like family value. You know, when politicians say traditional family values, as in man, woman, child type thing. Traditional as a sense of men are providers or protectors, women are nurturers. You know, that type of thing. The traditional sense of even religion as a traditional God, man, woman, child. That type of order per se. The traditional sense of a man and a woman are supposed to be together, not a man and a man or a woman and a woman. You get what I'm saying? Traditional as a sense of you have to, if you want to be successful, you have to have some type of work ethic. You know why I'm here. What's up? Lynch is back in the building. Where the Skittles at? You know, traditional as in a sense of, you know, if you work hard and you work smart, you can be something successful in society. You know, you can put in an effort. If you put in effort, you will get you can reap the benefits and rewards of your hard work and effort. You know, traditional in those type of ways. So, you know, to have a code of conduct, everything can't, you know, everything is not there. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, traditional in the sense of, you know, we don't play gray area to get over on somebody and then play stupid. That's not what we're doing. One thing I learned in college doesn't teach traditional values. I'm pro education, but I'm seeing some educated women struggle with keeping a man, vice versa. Some brothers struggle with being leaders. Yeah, I dig that. You know, and that's the thing about being traditional, because I'm like, even with the women, sometimes women get upset. And I was open to that thought that, you know, even with women get upset because being traditional means I have to be under a man. And I don't want to be under a man. And the thing about that is, I can understand you not wanting to be non-traditional because you don't want to be dependent on if a man is productive or not. But what I can't understand is the vast majority of women are working for corporations that are made by men, built by men, maintained by men. What's up, AM? I'm sorry, fam. Maintained by men, and you can depend on their industry, but you don't want to create your own. But you still don't want to necessarily be traditionally under a man. It's like, but you already are. How can you be free? How can you claim that you're free and independent while being part of the machine of America that was built by men? How? If you're not willing to build your own machine, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, exactly. It even if he's good, it evens out. But that's part of this traditional thing that I have an issue with. Like, one of the other things about that is, after breaking the social contract, an issue that I have with people who are non-traditional is the failure rate. Like, the failure rate of being non-traditional is so high, it's ridiculous. And I understand that you're trying something new, that you're trying something different. But I don't understand the failure rate being so high. And the thing about this non-traditional wave of America, I'm saying you, but you don't want to take into consideration that people have seen this before. Like, people who are traditional saw this before in the 60s, not just with the civil rights movement or Vietnam, but the hippie era and the sexual revolution and this, that, and the third. And the problem that I have with this is, guess what happened to all the people who wanted to break tradition and be hippies, and it's all about love and Woodstock, and it's free love, and it's a sexual revolution. What's up, Lando? You know what I'm saying? And we want to change society. They mixed kind of the civil rights era and hippie stuff together like it was the same thing. And guess what happened to all of those rebellious people who just wanted to be young and free and be non-traditional? They got older and became traditional because being non-traditional didn't work for them. Being a hippie was cool, but it didn't work for them. Being sexually liberated was cool, but as far as society, as far as advancing their lives, it didn't work for them. Yeah, drug abuse too. It didn't work for them. So now they does it. So even we watch people go from being traditional to non-traditional and go, well, I'll go back to being traditional now because that was fun, but it didn't really work. I want a life that's productive. And for me, looking at it, it's like a lot of times when you're non-traditional, you're not productive. And people try to look at it like like if you're thinking outside the box as a businessman, you're an entrepreneur, that's thinking outside of the box. Well, being an entrepreneur is under the box, is under the umbrella of traditionalism. Being artistic is actually under the umbrella of traditionalism because there's a tradition of art, there's a tradition of business. They have business models. There's nothing new under the sun. So when you're trying to create something new under the sun, understand you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if the wheel is working just fine and you're trying to reinvent the wheel instead of inventing something new that you don't need wheels for, you're gonna be looked at as an idiot. What's up, George? Right. You trying to do away, that's part of the thing, Edward. You want to do away with traditional manhood and traditional womanhood, but you didn't replace it with nothing. That's where the failure rate comes in. I don't want to be a traditional man. I don't want to be a traditional woman. So what do you actually want to be? I want to be a non-traditional man. I want to be a non-traditional woman. Okay, so So you want to be a non-traditional man or woman dealing with a non-traditional man or woman, but you want a traditional outcome. No, it ain't gonna happen that way. You're creating something completely different. But what do I think about people who think that their success makes them good men? I think success does not make you. Success can't make you a good mate, but in society, um, the discipline it takes to be successful can make you a good partner because of the way you operate, your discipline, your structure, the options. The same the things that make people successful in life are not the showy things. They're the grind. You know what I'm saying? But Edward, they didn't impeach Trump. I mean, there's no. He's not off out of. He's not the president. He's still a president. You know, you impeach when you ain't the president no more. That man probably gonna be running for the next election. It's the same thing what they was talking about. We're gonna impeach Bill Clinton. Was Bill Clinton ever impeached? No. They tried it, but it didn't happen. Until they kick him out the White House, he ain't impeached. But part of the success and failure rate. Let me go back a little bit. What was that? Oh, Hands of Fury, what's up? Big Poke Dog, thanks, man. Part of the issue is that it's like when people don't want to do something different, it fails. And I get that people like I can say I'm rigid because I have the right to be traditional, but being traditional does not mean you're not open for something new, because new things are always being introduced to traditions. But when you introduce something new into a tradition, it does have to pass a test of is this effective or not. And a lot of times we don't want to talk about people who are new age and non-traditional. The shit that they do isn't effective. And it's like, I'm not going to trade something effective for something ineffective because you feel good doing it. That don't make no sense. You know, for me, that's just dumb. Is it okay? Wait. Gender is one thing. What if we could take their place running the country in which they fear? We wouldn't have these problems. I'm not necessarily talking about just gender. I'm talking about the whole thing, but we can't, like, here's the thing. And if I'm gonna speak on race, I'm gonna say this. What's up, Tori? You know, super high, what's popping? I should have said hello first. Here's the thing. With 13% of the population, we're not gonna run the country. That's just a numerical thing. Our perspective on the country may go in a different direction that may be positive, but we're not going to run a country. Like the majority population normally runs a society, no matter where you at. The minority does not control the things, you know, and that's just the way it is. No problem, Sam. You know, exactly, Rose, man. Who gonna pay for that? And that's why I say I have the right to be traditional, because people who are non-traditional don't ever pay for the stuff that they do. What's up, Mr. Jedi? They don't want to pay for it. You know, they don't, like, in a simple sense. When I look at people who are non-traditional, and this may be a wrong way to say this, but I think people who are non-traditional are people who don't want to pay the cost to be the boss. And it's like, well, I'm not gonna take you in your non-traditional ways serious because you're not gonna pay the cost to be the boss. You want to do something new, but you really ain't gonna pay the cost for that. DJ Moss was popping. You know, I don't like that. You know. No, Drew, I get you with the South Africa thing. Yeah, I definitely get that. Now, the other thing that kind of, why I say I had a right to be traditional is because when people are, what I see in society is people are become non-traditional, and then they're finding that, I'm finding my voice, I'm finding my way, I'm going at things a new way. And when I say non-traditional, that doesn't really have an age group, because you see people of all age groups go from being traditional to non-traditional, like, and they go try something new. You know what I'm saying? And here's the problem. Just because you're finding a new way and finding your voice and expressing yourself differently, you're brand new to being non-traditional. So you're brand new to the nuance of you might be doing too much. You might be going too far. You might be burning bridges instead of building bridges. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, Rosemaster. So now you finding your voice, but your voice is not really good. But you're so in, this is my voice, this is my expression, this is how I want to do things, this is how I. But you're in a society. And why do you? Because you finding your new voice, the society don't have to bend to you because you're figuring it out. When you find your voice, come back. When you actually find it, come back. Don't go around looking saying, I'm finding my voice, I'm finding myself, and you got to deal with me in this process of evolution. And then when I find myself, oh, this is me. But here's all the things, here's all the good things I did, and here's all the bad things I did. And accept all of these good things and successes and ignore all of these bad things because I was finding my way, and I'm not really responsible for my actions when I'm finding my way and causing problems for other people. It's like, no, that's bull. That's bull. Finding your way, that's a journey you need to take along. You don't get to drag everybody in. If you're taking a journey, you don't have to. If people don't want to go on a journey with you, that's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? I get you, Mike. I get you. If I'm find the area that the second accuser came up dead after he released the creepy. Wow. Oh, yeah, set it off, Torian. I've heard older women regret not doing things in a traditional way after hitting a wall. I just don't understand why those same women don't help and warn younger generations for making the same. Because you can't. You can, but they're not going to listen to it. Like, when I'm talking about traditional and non-traditional, right? And this thing about finding your voice, it's not necessarily even with the male-female dynamic. Like, I look at it like street culture is non-traditional. So if you're in street culture, you know everything that goes with it. So this is why, to a degree, I hate it when people, you want to be in the streets, but now you want to be a political prisoner for doing something that was non-traditional. So you break the code of the social contract, but you want that same society to give you a pass because you see things differently. No, because non-traditional people, in my opinion, are more rigid than traditional people. And what I mean by that is traditionalism is vast. So everybody knows what's traditional. So I'm not doing that, 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 I'm not doing that. To all these things that are traditional. So they're stuck with a segment of society that, okay, this is what they say traditional people don't do. This is what traditional people don't do. I'm gonna do all these things that they don't do. Well, the reason why they don't do those things is because they're ineffective. But if you want to find your voice in a type of lifestyle that is ineffective, cool. Don't cry about it though. Just don't cry about it. You know what I'm saying? Sister George, how you doing? That to me is what's silly. Like, we got people crying about, I'm finding myself and I'm finding my voice, but I didn't know that it was going to cost me an arm and a leg. Yeah, it would. And that's the problem with the responsibility part. When you're when you're non-traditional, what actually are you responsible for when you're non-traditional? Nobody ever, people who are non-traditional don't have a responsibility to anything. And it's funny to me because, like, when I look at business culture and how American culture goes, I want to set up a business so I and come and go when I want to go, and I want to do as I please, and I want to be a boss, and I want to set my own schedule. I get the freedom, I get being financially free, but the lifestyle that people are using business, be non-traditional and think outside of the box and be an entrepreneur so you don't have to work. And you're going to have people work for you. This is a big problem because the way they're selling it is I'm going to be on the beach for the rest of my life and people are going to be working for me, making me money while I'm on the beach. So I work so hard to do nothing my whole goddamn life. That's not an entrepreneur. That's not a businessman. A businessman and an entrepreneur is not somebody who does just enough work to never work again in their life, who creates one idea and profits off of that idea and then never work again a day in their life because of that one idea. They actually take that idea and that business model, and once that machine is moving, they take some of those resources to create something else because they didn't have just one interest. And this is the problem. Like, you know, there's no. It's an irresponsible. It's an irresponsible way to make society to put that out into society. Like, yo, no, I'm gonna be a non-traditional entrepreneur, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this one thing, and I'm gonna start this one business, and then when I make millions of dollars, I'm gonna just sit in Barbados for the rest of my life in a hammock. Like, excuse me. What the hell are you talking about? You know, that ain't even. So you never actually were about. You've never been an entrepreneur. You've never been a businessman. You just looking for a lick to retire from life. That's not the same thing. And that's the part of being non-traditional. You don't want to say you're not trying to be. You're not trying to think outside of the box to create something. Thanks, Morris. You know, you're not trying to think outside of the box because you want to bring something to the world and society. What you're saying is, I want to hit a lick so I could just be on the beach and stunt for the rest of my life. What's up, Joe? You know, and to me, that's so damn stupid. You know, to me, that's just dumb. But when you're non-traditional, there's no responsibility in that. You know, the funny part about it is, if you look at families, you would say a deadbeat dad is non-traditional. You know, a single mother is non-traditional. So why we're not looking at those like they're, I can't say, we have looked at single mothers like it was a great thing, but we've never looked at a deadbeat dad like it was a great to be a father in a child's life. You're supposed to be a father. If you're not available, that's not a good thing. You can't say, oh, you know, that's the traditional way of thinking. I'm not going to talk to that kid for 20 years because I'm different. It's a new way of thinking. It's a new age. You know, same thing with the single mothers. I'm the mother and the father, but your daddy ain't no good. Okay, it's confusing to call yourself the mother and the father and say your daddy ain't no good. Who you talking about? You talking about you? Well, no, I ain't talking about me. I'm talking about your real daddy. But you said my mother, my mama, and my daddy, but my daddy ain't no good. But you talking about my real daddy, so you my play daddy. Okay, I understand it, because being non-traditional causes too much damn confusion. You know, because there's no responsibility in it. And part of the reason why I'm saying, you know, that part is because part of being non-traditional, you get to pass down dysfunction. See, when you and why I say that is, here's one of the things about traditionalism that people say, because of the traditional life, you know what I'm saying? Because of the traditional life, these are the dysfunctional qualities that I got from a traditional environment. So I don't want that kind of environment. But you want a non-traditional environment, but your non-traditional environment is just as dysfunctional, if not more, than the traditional environment that you don't want no parts of. You know, Mauricia, well, I actually do a podcast on boxing. That's why I just do stuff like this. Like, I just like doing things differently. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Yeah, that means you failed twice. Yeah, but now you passing down to this dysfunction because I don't want to live in this situation. Because I was talking about, I have a friend. She's a real cool chick. I got love for her. She dope, but she doesn't want to be in a traditional relationship. As far as man and a woman being in the same house, because she saw her mother and her stepfather didn't get along, so that's not what she wants. And I was like, well, I get that. Big Law was popping. And so I get that. You saw something coming up and you don't want it as an adult. But what I don't get, and what I say about pass down dysfunction, Aubrey was good. What I don't get about passing down dysfunction is, if something happens to you in your childhood, or something happens to you when you were quote unquote in a traditional atmosphere, and then you become an adult and you have an aversion to traditionalism to the point that you create dysfunction so you won't get traditionalism, then you're worse, in my opinion. Because it's like, okay, I don't want to ever be in this position, so I'm gonna sabotage this situation from actually happening. But I'm gonna get mad when I put myself in a situation that is worse. That's worse off. And I think it's like, because I get what you're saying, Devin. It sounds crazy, but we talked about, me and my friend was talking about it in a sense of, like, I don't like when men say, I cheat because all the guys around me were cheating, so I don't have to be faithful to my girlfriend or my wife because I grew up around cheaters. The problem with that is this: the girl that you meeting didn't have nothing to do with that. So you chose to play the girl that you meeting before you ever met her, but you want to be with her. So because that a dysfunction was passed down to you, now you think it's okay for you to interject it in somebody else's life. And this is why I say, I have the right to be traditional, because part of being non-traditional is throwing away rules. Why do we need these rules? Why do we need these regulations? Why do we need to govern certain situations? We could just let them be what they are. And it's like, oh, okay. So you wanna ungoverned society where you can do whatever you want, which, in my opinion, is ridiculous. Because if you want an ungoverned society, if you say you want an ungoverned society, right, then you can't play the victim when that ungoverned society is ungoverned towards you. If you can do whatever you want to do in a society, then you got to take the idea that the other people in society can do whatever they want to you too. And this is why I don't like this idea of being non-traditional. To me, it's asinine. Because I have people saying, I just want to be selfish. Okay, well, if you can have the right to be selfish, then guess what? The person you're with is probably going to be selfish too. Yeah, I get you, Marisa. I think it's backwards too, but that's the part of the problem. But another part of this is, how can I say this? The passing down narratives. It's not just passing down dysfunction. We pass down narratives about the bad things that happen and create a new narrative that doesn't make sense, but is a great excuse, or is a half-truth type of excuse to be non-traditional. As a man, I was, part of what I'm talking about, I would say the women, because me and my friend were talking about the women, she was like, the women go to school to get an education. And I said, that's the thing though. You can't raise a woman. If you want to raise a woman to go to school to education, that's one thing. But when you give a young girl a narrative, you need to go to school and get an education so you don't have to depend on a man. You've already created her. You put it in her head as a child that men are the enemy. And then you're telling these women, oh, the reason why you need to go to school and get an education because men back in the day did this, and this, and because the men are this. If you put them, if they get in this position, they're gonna do this, and this. And it's like, but you're not telling the boys, but you're telling the boys to be productive men and go make money so they can take care of a woman. So you're giving both sides. You're teaching the women to, look at the men as, I don't need to be around you. I can do it for myself. And then you're teaching the men to say, oh, put yourself in a position where you can take care of her. And then you have this situation that's unconventional. What's up, unconventional? So what you honestly believe should an unconventional person? Oh, okay, hold up. So what you honestly believe should a young? Okay, I got you, unconventional. What an unconventional person should bring to the world is the same productivity as everybody else. Just because you're unconventional does not mean you could get to be unproductive. You get what I'm saying? You don't get to be outside of the box and unproductive, because then somebody's, I hate to say it this way, but there's a big population of people who are non-traditional, who want to eat all the food at the table but don't want to bring no food to the table, and that's just not gonna fly. With modern society, we don't need certain rules. Well, Teddy, oh, you know what? That's cool. I'm glad you said it. Teddy, what rules don't we need in society anymore? Because, people are people regardless. And there are certain things. What's up, Jay? Like, there's certain things that people are doing because of technology. Because I think technology gave us the ability to be smarter, and the ability to be faster and build and grow and accumulate faster. But I think it also made us dumber because we're not using technology to be better. We're using technology to be extra. You know what I'm saying? So this why, part of the non-traditional thing is an issue. Right. That's what I mean, Epic. When people are non-traditional, they want to eat off the tree, but they don't want to put a tree for the next generation. And that's the thing about, like I said in the past, we've seen people who decided to be non-traditional and it didn't work for them and they went back to being traditional. And I hate to say it, it's kind of like being non-traditional nowadays is like a girl being bisexual. It's a phase. Now, she gonna pick a side at some point, but everybody, I'm with women today. Men again, I'm with women again. Then 10 years go by. Oh, I made a decision. I know what I really want. Damn, you should have known what you wanted years ago when you stopped involving people. Because of birth control, we don't need to get married first to have sex. It eliminates many issues from the lack of birth control. Well, people weren't. That's what I was talking about to a degree about that, Teddy, is people weren't. That's a narrative that people got married to have sex. No, look at human history. People weren't getting married to have sex. People was having sex without marriage the whole doggone time. That's why in the Bible fornication is a sin, because guess what most people were doing? Fornicating. And fornication wasn't even having sex before marriage. Fornication was basically indulging in porn. Porn and prostitution. But that's partially what I mean, fam, about the narratives. Like, we pass down narratives as if they're true, and then we're operating in those narratives, not saying, okay, well, that's not really what it was. And now it's like, okay, so we being non-traditional, cool. cool. We being non-traditional because, I've been told this and I believe this, so I'm going to do something else. No, Teddy. Okay, when you say true, but they wanted to get married to control the consequences of casual sex. No, they wanted to get married to create wealth building because marriage is a business. So to build a business, you have to be committed to growing something for a long period of time. That's the thing about you can have sex with a bunch of people, but are you committed to growing something for a long period of time? And like Essence was like, Essence is saying, it to legitimize the children, because if you're building something together, then you have actual people to give it to. That was the problem with illegitimate children, is they had no inheritance. But people were having sex throughout all of that stuff. When you would create a kid, that's why it would create a kid, and it's kind of like the shotgun marriage, because you got to legitimize that child and give them something. You can't bring a child into the world and give them absolutely no legs to stand on. That's part of being traditional. But we live in a society where you want to have children, but don't give them legs to stand on, and that's cool. That's not what's up. Right. So, that's why I've said, like, the narratives are a bit extra. And, part of that is also, in my opinion, that you want society, like when people are non-traditional, I hate the fact, and this might be wrong, but I hate the fact that when I meet people who are non-traditional, they always want traditional people to fix it. Like, that's why I'm talking about, non-traditional there's no responsibility in it, because, we were talking about, say a man and a woman get married and we're non-traditional, right? I get married to a woman and we're non-traditional. She could be the breadwinner. Okay, she can make more money, no problem. But if we get divorced, okay, you need to be traditional, and as a man, you need to pay me. No. You want to be the breadwinner, and you make more money. Now you don't want to be traditional no more. You want to be non-traditional in this relationship, but you want it. But divorce is a traditional a way of handling separating. So if you want to be non-traditional, we don't divorce traditionally. You don't get to take half, right? And that's and I hate to say this, but the modern day woman, the modern day Western woman or American woman, whether they know it or not, have actually become the very man that they say that they fought against in feminism. So if a woman makes more money than a man, guess what? He needs to sign a prenup, because I'm not taking care of him. But let me get this right. But at the same time, if you met a man that makes more money than you don't want him to sign a prenup. Oh, okay, because you want to have access to that wealth. You want to be independent. But at the same time, where are the real men at to do what men are supposed to do? See, this is the problem with non-traditional people. If you want to step out into the avenue of being non-traditional, you got to be 10 toes down. And that's me. I was talking to my friend about that last night. I was like, people who are non-traditional are really not stand-up people to me, because they're not 10 toes down and being non-traditional. They're only 5 toes in. They non-traditional, when it's convenient, and then, when non-traditional spanks them on the ass, then they want to become traditional again to have some type of umbrella of safety. And I'm like, no, you're not 10 toes down and being non-traditional. Bull. That's bull. Right. You focus so close on the narrative, you become it. Finally stopped paying child support after probably 3.5 years. Oh, Prometheus, now you unchained, player. They want money, Kumo D. But they need to go to work like Kumo. I go to work like a doctor. See, people, I'm a hip hop head from back in the day. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. That's part of the issue is you're non-traditional, but you don't want to fix it. That's stupid to me. Now, I'm gonna say this part of it, and I got to talk about this, and I don't want to get raw but I might. People who are non-traditional nowadays are just people, in my opinion, who are extra. You just want to push the boundaries of society for attention. You want to be non-traditional for clout. You want to do something, because you want to troll people and get attention for it. And it's like, so really, all this is about is some childish attention-seeking thing. So a part of me and my friend was talking about is like, I don't like people who are like that because a lot of non-traditional people just want to be seen. And guess what you do? You ignore children who always want to be seen. Oh yeah, I feel that, Harambe. If we don't, we are done. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these people want to be seen. I want to go out in public and act a certain way. I want to be seen doing X, Y, Z. And you got to accept my behavior. And it's just a new way of thinking. And I'm this person, and I'm that person. It's like, okay, I'm going to just ignore you now. Because, like, my friend was talking to me about, she was like, she's saying, like, if, how do straight men feel about gay men? I'm like, they extra. So we don't deal with that. They just too extra. She's like, what do you mean they extra? I'm like, well, she's like, she said something like, gay guys don't want to come out the closet because they don't want the scrutiny. And I was like, scrutiny from who? From who? When men figure, if men see you gay, you gay. That's it. And nothing to talk about after that. Nothing. But if you in public, dressing like, EJ, you extra. If you got to be, shut up, you extra. Ain't nobody come, like, I didn't come to this restaurant to hear you, scream out for attention. Sit your stupid ass down. And, let me be me. And the reason I said it, like I was telling her about that, I said, because it's disrespectful. Like, you're not supposed to be the star of you're not supposed to create a show and be a star of a show all the time. Like, yeah, you said, Kevin, Lizzo comes to mind. Yeah, that's just extra. Like, nobody wants to hang out with that. You don't understand. You never seen a person like me before. I actually have seen a person like you before. And guess what? I don't fuck with them. Because they extra. Yeah, I would believe that self-care. And that's the thing about our society is, in my opinion, people are trying to fake it till they make it. And that's stupid to me. It's disrespectful to women when men imitate the loudest women. I get that, Trina B, but that's how guys feel about studs. Because I was telling my friend was like, guys get real disrespectful when they see a stud with a chick. I said, you know what? I could see that because he ain't really disrespecting. It's taken as disrespect because he'll walk up to a chick and holler at her. I was like, have you ever considered the fact that it's disrespectful to be a stud to a man? Like, get out my damn face. This is why I said, I have the right to be traditional. Like, guys be like, get out my face. I'm a man just like you. You shop in the men's section and you wearing the clothes horribly. Get out my face. That don't mean you a man. You got a fade. Oh, wow. That don't make you a man. Okay, because you put a sports bra on and you got tattoos on your forearm, it don't make you a man. Get out my face. You disrespectful as hell. So how about I'm going to holler at your chick because you ain't going to never be a man. So this emulation is stupid. What's up, Prophet of Thought, man? What's going on, X? Yeah, super high. That is ridiculous. But to me, it's about the pushing boundaries and being extra. Because when I was talking to her, why don't women address the behavior of women who act crazy? Because that's part of this non-traditional society. Like, like you know what you gonna know what I'm saying. Like when I would meet cats who was in the street and they say ain't nothing gonna happen to me, I would laugh at them. Like, oh, nothing's gonna happen to you. So let me get this right. You 10 toes down in the underworld, and you're gonna be as extra as hell, but nothing's gonna happen to you. So you just above consequences, huh? So when they wind up, get their head put on flat or wind up getting locked up, it's a surprise. It's a shock. I can't believe that happened. Nigga, are you serious? How you can't believe that happened? That's how it go. Jamar, what's popping, man? So like I'm saying that because the women don't understand that a lot of times, and even the reason I'm bringing up even sexuality is a lot of this non-traditionalism is starting to be connected to sexuality, and you're being androgynous. And this is what I meant earlier when I was like, people went from being traditional to non-traditional back to traditional. Androgyny ain't nothing but the 80s. And guess what happened? People got out of that shit. The same people, you know, who were androgynous in the 80s, by the 90s, it was like, man, I ain't doing that shit no more. No. Prince was androgynous. He kept toning it down because it was like, people forget Prince being on high heels. And shut up, Devin. I know you in there somewhere. Prince being on stage in high heels and a thong, basically, in a raincoat. After a while, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna keep doing that. Right? Exactly. Only me. You want something you're not, to the point where you want traditions to accept you for being off the chain. You know what I'm saying? You can't even spell shut, Devin. But that was the problem. That is definitely the problem. Because I was watching something one of the brothers put up on Instagram, and it was a room full of black women, which was crazy. And they were talking, and there was only one woman in the room that would only deal with men. Everybody else, they'll deal with trans men and women, freaking women, and then it was one sister. I'm just straight men. Everybody, I'm just so open to doing this and that. Oh, it's non-traditional. And here's the problem. Wait, even rock stars in the 80s cut their hair once. Exactly. It's like, no. Yeah, self-care. Yeah. It's like I think it was like an HBO show. Women look like strippers and shit. I don't know if they were, but that's how they look. Like, and you know what, self-care? I'm gonna say something. Because there are women in this chat. Trayvon, what's that? Black women, when I know black women feel like guys online are really getting on and getting at black women. But there's a segment of brothers who are trying to point out the image of black women that black women are putting out there too. Just like when gangster rap was a negative image of black men. We talk about Hillary Clinton not too long ago, called the super predators thing. But you got to remember, during the era of saying super predators, gangster rap was just sweeping over the nation, and guys, glorifying being killers was part of us glorifying the negativity too. I'm not saying we're responsible for what Hillary Clinton was saying, but what I'm saying is we were putting out a bad image of black men, even though other people were paying us to do it. We were still putting out that bad image, because that bad image, people forget PM Dawn, Arrested Development, Kwame, Special Ed, all that's still in the same era of NWA and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? People forget all the people who, the roots. That's all still in the same era of quote unquote gangster, gangster, gangster. You know, but a lot of the sisters don't get that what we're seeing from Black women in totality, on television and in social media. It's actually what we're seeing in real life is a lot of Black women who are mentally, physically, and emotionally all over the place. And and to a degree, a lot of us know that the lifestyles that women are choosing is not working out. And it's the same thing as the feminist ideology, the strong independent ideology that I don't need no man. When they never told the girls you gonna wind up owing a gang of money because you went to get this education. And the men look at it like you went to school and got an education. So because you were told not to depend on a man. So you really didn't go to school and get an education and do something that you wanted to be. You did something to feel like you weren't going to be oppressed by men. So you really had no passion. You just kept racking up debt, not thinking about it. You know, so now that you're racking up debt and then think about it, all these men are bad. And a lot of times part of, and I remember doing a live about, the hookup culture is you it, it helps a womanizer, because a lot of these things that I'm talking about as far as being traditional and non-traditional, that actually goes for being a stand-up man or woman. Like a stand-up guy is normally traditional. A stand-up man is not non-traditional normally, because that right. I get you. I get you. I definitely understand that self-care, and that's the thing. You know, dealing with us with our society, the women weren't necessarily taught to pursue their goals. They were taught to do something because of some fictitious man. And I'm like, what is that? And you're still going to be behind the eight ball because you're still not doing what you actually want to do. You know. But now, you know what, Teddy, it's gonna make you sound like I'm being contrary to you. Black women go to school for independence and white women go to school to get a husband. That ain't even true, because white women are the women who was on the college campuses pushing for the independence. That's where everybody get it from, is white women. That's where they get it from. Man, thanks, Big Law. That's where they get it from. A lot of this feminist rhetoric came from white women. A lot of this, the men are no good, came from white women. Which I think what a lot of times what Black men have a real big issue with is we can't differentiate if Black women's rhetoric is solely, or is it mixed in with white women's ideology about feminism? Because I don't think the sisters realize that when y'all talk the black men of this, the black men of that, on one minute is we can get the black man part, and another minute you kind of sprinkle in white women's talking points. And it's like, so who is this actually about? And I don't get it. Yeah, them girls are man haters, dog. Perception. But they still end up. Yeah, okay. Teddy, what is that? What is Mayor de Blasio in New York? You know who I'm talking about? Us as Black women have to understand our struggles are not the same as white women. I thought that was only me. For Black men, it's funny that we have to even say that to Black women, because it's stupid. That's like Black men saying our struggles are the same struggles as white men. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Oh Lord, what you oh Lording about?" To me, that's the crazy part about it. It's like, Yeah, super high. I don't like the thing of trying to make homosexuality traditional because it's like it's not. It's not. And I think something. Yeah, okay. Do you know De Blasio's that the black woman he's married to, his wife? You knew like 20 years prior to that, she had like an article in Essence magazine talking about why she's a lesbian, why she doesn't like men. And then the next time they actually saw her after that article was married to that man with them kids. You know, and getting back to right. Incels and MGTOWs respond. Yeah, exactly. That too. Uh and speaking of the sexuality part, I've told my friends this before that a lot of times people think people have an issue with homosexuality, but but people have an issue with the agenda because, to be perfectly honest, I don't think being traditional, the gay community is not looked at as a productive society. You don't look at gay people as people like who produce something, because gay people, the gay society is just a hodgepodge of different racial groups on both genders. So it's just a group based on having sex with the same people. But when you look at the group of just gay people in general, you don't think of them um, bringing anything to society except for, hey, I could sleep with the same sex. You don't think of them as a group as people who, oh yeah, these people brought this to the table and that to the table. You don't think of them as that, and you're not of the gay community as builders and maintainers of society, or builders of families, or builders of tradition. You think of people who are just completely rebellious to maintaining society, right? So people look at it like, even with that, it's like that's why people don't who are traditional don't look at that lifestyle as um like, nah, that's it's BS, because it's nothing really gonna come of it. You can't produce children. You're not gonna pass down wealth. You're all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Um, you go from men to women and women to men, and you say you can even go. You might even wind up dating children. Like, all of the things that apply is just too extra. Do you ever so okay, you never thought of or you just like, oh yeah, nobody ever, I mean, most people don't think about it. It ain't even about the diseases, because truth be told, if you straight, you don't give a shit about gay people diseases. Just like they shouldn't give a shit about yours, because you ain't fucking with them. Oh, them people got diseases. Well, I'm not. Okay, I ain't messing with them, so that's gonna be in their own community, you know so that's the crazy part about it. It's just, I have the right to be traditional. And if you don't like that, that's your problem. I have reasons for it. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. You know. But there is something I forgot. One of my friend was telling me, she was like, the one thing about traditionalism is people in traditional society haven't been honest. So it opens the door for people to be non-traditional, because there were so many people under the umbrella of traditionalism who are faking it, who are fake and who are on bullshit, that it gave it a bad name. So, and then you got people, still hiding under the guise of being traditional, and they doing dumb shit. Confusion is not a social construct. I get that. Whoa. Yeah, and that's the thing. Honesty is a vice. You're right, Aubrey. Honesty is a vice. From dating chicks that claim themselves are bisexual, they are fun, but they have mental issues. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, right? Yeah, big face. Just tell the truth. If you're a Christian and you lie, just say you're a liar. Exactly. And I will say this about, chicks who are, because I've like I talked about this before. I've met and dated and dealt with chicks who are bisexual, and to be perfectly honest, I've told those chicks I don't look at you as a you always look at women regardless whether they're straight, bisexual, or gay as women. So my thing is I tell them like, you're not really, you got commitment issues. Like bisexual women to me are women who have commitment issues, because the reason that they can't stick with a group if they get their feelings hurt. If a woman is with a man and then she get her heart broke or her feelings hurt, then she gonna be with a woman, and then she gonna get with a woman, and then she gonna get her heart broke, her feelings hurt, then she gonna be back with men. It's like, so basically what you're saying is you're not taking responsibility for your part of being the problem in these relationships. You just gonna go to a completely other gender because you're not responsible for yourself. It's the gender's fault one day. That's crazy. Oh, here goes George Fraser getting his message. To me, it's just stupid. Right. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the one thing I do not like about what you just said, perception about quote unquote gender fluidity. I can, like, it's only women. Like, okay, when I say this, men don't believe in fucking gender fluidity. Men just don't. Only people who believe in gender fluidity is women and gay men. It doesn't have to be like that, man. Shut the hell up. Because there's no such thing to feel. I feel like a woman today. I feel like a man today. What the fuck that feel like? Since you about this feeling, what does it feel like? I feel like I'm trapped, and I'm trapped in a man's body. I'm trapped in a woman's body. It's about an energy. This is a masculine energy. This is a feminine energy. It's different. It's like, nigga, what the fuck you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? It's not being a man is not just an energy. This ain't Avatar, goddammit. This is not Avatar. It's not, we're not the last male airbender. Oh, this is how it feels to be a man. Let me do this, the male technique of masculinity. That don't make no damn sense. I'm not gonna do this because I'm feeling more masculine today, but I'm feeling feminine today. And I'll be like, man, if y'all don't shut up, just shut up. Please shut up. I've met women like that who like when a woman says, I'm more of a man than you. Like sometimes every now and then I had to check a chick on that shit. I'm more of a man than a man. By what? What made you a man today? Because you saying some dumb shit right now. Because what you are actually you're a failure at being a woman. So since you failed at being a woman, now what you're doing is you're gonna emulate being a man because you can never be it. So it's not that you are a great man, you just are scared to be a damn woman. Exactly. I wouldn't want my exactly, and that's the same thing with D Wade's son. You are a proponent of toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's crazy. Darren, what's popping? Beatbox, what's going on? And it's weird because like when women, like, because I remember talking to my friend about that yesterday. I was like, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you what men find disrespectful. If men are in a spot and there's a gay guy and he spends all his time being gay and being over the top, being extra and being feminine or try to emulate femininity, and then something happens and he turns around like, hey, I'm still a man. The guy's gonna be like, man, if you don't shut your dumb ass up, you've been practicing at being a failure of a woman for all week, all month, all year, and now all of a sudden, because I'm still a man. Now I'm supposed to take you as being a man. Shut your stupid ass up. You stopped practicing in that a long time ago. Let your confused ass stay confused. But I'm not gonna take you seriously. You know, to me that part is just silly. You know, it's just silly. Yeah, like I don't get all that. But you know what? I'm gonna take my stupid butt to the gym right now. So let me get out of here, y'all. And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me because I didn't even realize I've been on here an hour and 20 minutes. So as Russell Simmons would say, thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night.